Hey, Damon, man, my goodness gracious, happy Monday. How are you?
I'm doing great, Kurt. Ready to go for the week.
Let's go for the week, man. Are you rested up for this one or what?
Yes.
Man, oh my God. I'm like, all right, so Uncle Damon, Uncle Kurt are like, we're two proud uncles today, right? So we're
Mhm.
here at Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. We're going to dive into AI success strategies for manufacturers. And we're going to dive in because like SEO is changing daily. AI is changing probably by the minute, right?
Yeah.
And so we wanted to bring in just a high level expert, our dear friend, our bestie, Holly Jobe. Holly, how are you, man?
I'm so good. It's so nice to see you guys. It's been way too long. I was so excited that we got this on the calendar. I've been looking forward to it since we scheduled it.
Nice.
Well, talk about way too long. Like you and I did a live workshop together in person, like last May,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
you guys,
Yeah.
you and the Protocol 80 team, just as always, smash a total home run. Every time I've done
Thank
a
you.
live event with Josh and Donnie and you and the team, you guys are I can't speak high enough about you guys. And then all of a sudden, like something changed in your life since last May. What happened?
I had a baby. I gave
Yes.
birth to my daughter Lyra.
Well, hey, can we see her? Can we see her?
Yeah, she's currently snoozing. On Mondays, I keep her home with me. The rest of the day, she goes
There
to
she
daycare.
is.
So she's just sleeping away right now in her crib. I warned to Damon and Kurt that any minute I might have to step aside and just go grab her because we're on baby time. She runs
Well,
this
There we
house.
go.
And so if
well,
she
and
needs me, we'll have to second pause and go attend to her for a second.
we will figure it out as we go along. So first off, massive congratulations to you, your
Thank
husband, your
you.
entire family. We're
Yeah.
just
Thank you so much.
so thrilled, so excited. And I can't wait to meet Lyra. So Lyra Willow, can't wait to
Yep.
meet her in person. And so big congratulations. Best decision that you'll ever make is having
Thank
it.
you.
Like, don't like, didn't, and I know everybody says this, but don't like, you look back like, what was my life like a few months ago? Like what did we do with our
Totally.
time?
Totally.
We
And
had so much
everything is
time.
just so much richer. Like everything is more fun and it's just like fun to get to introduce her to stuff and it's a new lease on life for sure.
It's a
Yep.
new lease on life. Well, hey, just so thrilled, so excited for you. So you've been,
Thanks.
Holly, dear friend on the show, literally since like we started in, can you believe we started in 2020? We started,
Wow.
yeah, we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary and Protocol 80.
Congratulations. That's a huge milestone.
Thank you, Holly. And I'll tell you, Protocol 80 has been dear friends of mine and
Yeah.
Damon's for years. Even like, and we go way back, way before COVID, back to like
Yeah.
2012 was when I first met Josh and Donnie, started working with these guys, with your team.
Yeah.
You guys had, I think, 3 or 4 employees back then. What are you guys up to now?
So there's I think 25 of us
25.
now. I'd have to do a count, but yeah, we've really focused on continuing providing inbound marketing for manufacturing companies. We've also recently expanded our technical services side of the business, so revenue operations when it comes to HubSpot consulting, as well as some IT consulting and things like that. We've been noticing more of a need for that, so focusing on that in tandem with our inbound services. So that's kind of the quick version of where we've
Yeah.
gone from 2012 to now, but I'm happy to expand on any of that if it's of interest.
And again, we're going to dive into some SEO. I'm super excited to hear what's going on with you as far as like AI. But before we go there, you guys are HubSpot specialists. So
Yes.
for our manufacturing friends out there that are they're either on HubSpot, struggling with HubSpot, just and you've been sharing with me lately that you guys are doing some really new, some fun, exciting things helping your manufacturing industrial clients. Share a little bit what's going on with HubSpot at Protocol 80.
Yeah. So interestingly, with since we're here talking about AI today, HubSpot has really robustly doubled down on their AI features. So pretty much everything in their platform has an element of AI poweredness to it in a way that is really helpful for marketing teams of all sizes. So there's tons of really rich tools that you can use in any of the hubs if you have large sales teams, small sales teams. It's just like very scalable. And the way that they're rolling out their new features, I think, are very friendly to solo marketers, even just on some of the free tools, the starter tools, as well as going up into pro and enterprise. So that's been really fun to see because it's kind of limited, but not gotten rid of our need to hop into multiple tools. If we can do more in HubSpot, it's really nice to kind of keep that there. And above all else, I think what we're continuing to see with HubSpot is the closed loop reporting just being priceless, especially now as we get into AI, seeing the different sources where people are coming from to the website, being able to track that from the point that they're first on the website to they become a sale and seeing what they see is absolutely imperative to making good database decisions on where our marketing goes next. So it's kind of all over the place, but it's a really big topic to like, to bite off. So we can certainly extrapolate further.
Well, let's dive in. And so, and I'd be remiss if I don't mention, whenever I mention a book, right, I say your mom's favorite book, because I know you're of all the books out there, that is your mom's favorite. Now that you're a mom, but
yes.
Talk a little bit about just share with folks about your wonderful book that you wrote last year.
Yeah, so I wrote the book called Immortal, The Undying Art of Attracting Customers. And the goal was to write an ultimate guide to someone just getting started with inbound marketing. So if they don't want to outsource to an agency, or if they just want to learn a lot beforehand, they want to do it all themselves. This was my answer to feeling frustrated about reading books, reading resources that felt like they were giving you just enough of what you needed, but nothing you could really sink your teeth into and just do it. So that book actually, since it came out, that's how we train our clients. That's how we train our team. That is kind of the foundation of everything that we do. It's our how-to guide. So I feel really proud of it from that perspective, where someone can pick that up, and I feel really confident that they can have a strong start to their marketing journey in a way that's effective, educational, and impactful without having to hunt and peck from all over the internet and all of these different resources. Not to poo-poo any other authors out there, but sometimes you want to learn everything under the sun, and sometimes you just need a quick start guide. So that's where I felt like I could really be helpful.
Yeah, and it's a phenomenal book, and so encourage everybody go out there, jump on Amazon, grab Holly's book. It's a blockbuster. So Holly, let's dive right in. So AI, hey, how's Lyra doing? She doing all right?
She's good. She's snoozing.
She's snoozing. All right, good. And so I'm hoping she comes on the show. So let's dive in. We're talking. I view you inbound marketing expert, SEO. Now you throw in this whole AI thing. What's been going on from your perspective with AI? How are you changing, evolving? How are you incorporating it at Protocol 80? How are you incorporating it with your clients? What's going on there?
Yeah, so I always have to give the caveat that this is just one gal's opinion. There may even be people at our agency who feel differently or would love to debate. So maybe I'll have them watch this and then get in touch with you if they feel like there's anything they want to correct. And then certainly other spaces. Since AI is so new, a lot of things are just opinion-based and observational. So I'm going to tell you what I've seen, what I feel like works. I feel confident that it's not, total garbage, but there may be people who feel completely differently out there. And that's really cool too. And that's what's fun about getting to experience this for the first time.
Yeah.
With that caveat aside, I will say over the past couple months, what's been really exciting is to see like the more things change, the more they stay the same. So a lot of our content pieces that were produced for our legacy clients that were produced maybe even as early as 2018, 2019 with some touch-ups here and there are the types of pieces that are being found in engines like ChatGPT, like Claude, and then actually giving traffic to our clients' websites, since now we know ChatGPT cites their sources. So that's been pretty incredible to see. And using tools like HubSpot and Google Analytics, we can see AI as a source. And that has been really affirming that those people who are producing good quality content with the intention of having a specific user, their soulmate, their persona read it, and they're producing that good educational content, the AI engines are going to push that out to the right people, similar to how Google has and will continue to do using their own AI tools as well in years to come. So that has been really affirming that we haven't seen a total overhaul where it's like, oh, what we've been doing with content, now we have to completely reorient the way we do it. We have to redo all these blogs. It really is true that the best content, the unique content, the content that's laid out to be search engine friendly, user friendly, has continued to prove successful even with the generation of all of these new engines. So that's been really, really cool and honestly a pretty big relief. As someone with a team of people who are writing content day in and day out for clients, it would have been really difficult to have to overhaul everything. So it's been cool that at least at this point in time, there's minor tips and tweaks and things that we can do, but it hasn't been a massive, like what AI wants is so different than what Google wants, at least not yet.
Mhm.
Right, and I think that's a huge relief for a lot of
Yeah.
people out there, Holly.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of recap that. So say that solo marketer out there or a small manufacturer were like, oh my goodness, I put out dozens of pieces, and this was like a big deal for us to go in that direction.
Yeah.
And what you guys are finding is like, hey, you're still in a really good place. You don't have to.
Yes.
We won't say throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can't say that today.
Too soon.
Can't say that today, right? So
Mhm.
I'm just teasing that. I couldn't.
No, but to your point, and that's really true. And I think what we have to look at is what makes manufacturing different from other industries and other spaces. So, what makes and has made good content successful in manufacturing is that it's educational,
Yep.
it's unique, it's highly targeted. So, the content that we're producing for clients is the type of stuff that's going usually engineer to engineer. It's not something that can be quickly replicated in a Google search or quickly replicated by just someone without experience writing about it. It really is that meaty content that answers questions, that's solving problems. And so that will continue to be valuable and is sort of irreplaceable because it's still human generated. We've utilized AI certainly in tons of different ways to help speed up those processes and just, make us smarter, make us work, smarter,
Yep.
not harder, and things like that. But when you think about it like that, someone can't go to an AI engine or even Google like they can before buying toothpaste. If they're going to make this huge purchase for their business that takes months to decide on lots of different research, those types of content pieces are still going to be important to consume. And manufacturing companies and their engineers, especially with proprietary technologies, proprietary materials and methods, that's just not something that AI can really accurately come up with, at least not without the help of, an educated marketer giving that to AI in the first place. It's not just going to come out like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. So what was interesting when you and myself, the team at Protocol 80, we did our workshop last year. AI was so new, and
Yeah.
it had like a little different flavor. What was going on? I think now as we're becoming more adaptive to AI, without giving away any secret sauce, you were just sharing like, hey, there's some shortcuts, there's some things. Any tips, hacks that you would want to share, or like what's working well for you guys, again, without giving away like the Protocol 80 secret, any secret tips out there, but what would you want to share with folks? Like, what are some shortcuts that they could be taking with AI?
Definitely. I think where AI is the most helpful, especially right now, is looking outward instead of inward. So, utilizing tools to do analysis, to do competitor research, to do comparisons, rather than try and replace that really good content and those really good experts and the marketers whose special touch and creativity it takes. Look at the things that you have to do that don't replace anything special about your business. And starting there is always a really good place to start. So even with something like ChatGPT, putting in your competitors and saying, what are things in this industry that people are asking about that these competitors aren't talking about or should be talking about? Right there. And obviously, the more you give it, the more information on the industry, the more detail, just the better that output is going to be. But even starting with something like that, you don't have to comb through every single one of your competitors' websites, plug them into that and identify where the gaps are. So things like that, I think, are some of the most crucial places, as well as just, of course, typical enablement. So things that help allow the marketers to be creative because they don't have to spend time doing other things like analyze this spreadsheet, write this PTO request email for me, like silly things like that, that protect your marketers' time to do the things that are unreplicatable and make them so worthwhile on your team.
Well, and I was just using it last week with a client to analyze data from Walmart, or not Walmart, excuse me, Amazon. And it's amazing the levels of detail it can comprehend that we can't, because it can uncover things, like you said, in spreadsheets. They just changed that not too long ago. You can upload them directly. But and this is a lot of SKUs, right? So it's like, identify opportunities for us in here, and it goes through the data like crazy. You can upload tons of data, and it just goes boom, gets it down into some some real concise things that you can review and go, wow, this makes a difference. I agree that we've all been kind of using it on the sideline to help us ideate or things like that, like you said, write an email. but as Kurt said, the advances are going so quickly that next week you never know what we're going to be able to do.
100%. I might have to hop on next Monday after a major change, and we'll have to talk
Yeah.
again. But that's so true, Damon. That's so true.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So how's Lyra doing?
She's good. She's sleeping.
Nice.
Yeah,
Perfect.
she's
Okay.
sleeping.
How have you evolved as embracing AI? I know, like, again, like, you know, when you and I were diving in a year ago, there was a little bit of a trepidation, especially from like content marketers of like,
Yes.
hey, wait a minute here. I'm doing a little timeout. Like, you know, we can't like just start spitting out tons of content. I think like all the marketers that we're friends with that had on our show, we do our webinars. There was a lot of like cautious optimism a year and a half ago. Now, like everybody's like, you know, like they're all in different capacities. We're still doing things with integrity, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's more about educating. How do you think that you are using? How has it changed you personally in your approach daily?
Yeah, I think I haven't changed maybe as much as I would have anticipated in terms of I still think creative tasks are best left in the hands of creatives. So when it comes to producing those blog posts, producing those white papers, doing good visuals, even social media posts, I think now because so many content marketers who either were anti-AI have since turned, or people who just were pro AI from the beginning, how much crap is out there is just so substantial. And we all can feel it, right? We can feel it in our bones when everything around us is inauthentic and produced by robots. Like it's just this depressive feeling. And so I think allowing, like, using AI and finding those creative ways, like Damon said, now that you've identified those gaps, now a marketer with their brain can find ways to tell that story to their soulmate, to bring those things up, because they're not fatigued from going through spreadsheets, right? Like, to me, that is still the bottom line. And that's not to say like there's no element of content production, but I definitely think training the engines to understand where your creative voice is, understand your brand, get them as smart as possible before using them for any form of generation is really, really, really important to still have that unique content there. I still stand by the fact that just hopping into like a cold chat GPT with no training, no engineering, nothing, and asking them to write a blog post, I think that's the type of content that we're seeing really just beating down and fatiguing people at this point. And maybe I'm still a little bit too extreme, and maybe that's a good thing, because I think there's a lot of people who are, you know, very pro AI and things, but I'm still very hesitant to recommend it as a replacement for true creative.
Right. Yeah. I like, so a couple notes, so, hey, again, thank you for joining us here today. We're here with our dear friend, Holly Jobe at Protocol 80. Check out Holly on LinkedIn. Please connect with her. Check out Protocol 80. They are a powerhouse industrial marketing for manufacturers, B2B space. They do an amazing, incredible work. Holly, a couple of notes that I've taken, you know, outward. I think that is a stroke of genius of like, how can I apply AI from an outward? And I want to dive into that a little bit deeper. And then I also have down protect your marketers, or if you're doing your own marketing, protecting your time. Let's start with that outward. Okay. I'm going to take that one step further, if you don't mind. So for our friends out there that maybe they're like, you know what, I've been sitting on the sidelines for a little bit. I've been a little bit cautious or critical of AI, but I guess kicking and screaming, I'm ready. You know, it's like people are like, hey, the internet's a fad. It's going to, you know, like, well, AI is not a fad. It's not going away anytime soon. How can people be looking more outward? Any tips or suggestions, ideas there?
Ooh, I think, that's a good question.
So,
sorry, I hate doing dead air on a show. I just want to make sure.
And we'll go here. So let's talk. Like you've mentioned word soulmates, which is like that's my love language, right? Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like the buyer. Like you guys are huge on like the whole buying process, the buyer journey. Okay. So talk a little bit about like when I'm looking at it, instead of like me wanting my soulmate to go through my buying process. How can I like understand their buying process, and what are things that I can be using for AI more extensively to help me? You mentioned like, you know, checking out competitors. How about
Yeah.
like really understanding that soulmate from an AI standpoint?
Yeah, definitely. And I know I'm going to beat this phrase into the ground, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm still going to recommend that you start with a good old fashioned conversation with your best
Yeah.
customers and
Yeah.
figure out what they have in common. And where I think
Mhm.
AI could help is helping punch up your question list, helping come up with areas that maybe you're not thinking to ask that would be really helpful, and then analyzing the data you get for commonalities and trends that you might not have seen. So I think AI can be a great partner in those conversations without replacing going to your best fit customers, because there is a limit to what we can do outwardly as well, right? Like your best fit customers, sometimes there's a secret sauce there that just can't even be put into words. Like I think of Leela and Webernap, who is a very great client of ours. Not that we play favorites, but we really, really love Webernap and we love Leela. And it's hard to put into words. We just click as two companies who can really, we can help them a lot. They make our team feel good. It's very rewarding to work with them. And that's hard to put into words. So there's a little bit of data and research that I think AI can help with in generating those questions and then an analysis. But I think just those true conversations with those partners that just make you feel good, and then also translate to dollar and cents for your business, I think that could be a really helpful place.
That's a great analogy. And Leela has been a dear friend. She's been on the show. So Holly, we were actually on site at Webernap and interviewed Rhonda, my classmate. I graduated from high school with Rhonda and Leela. And so, again, like that doesn't replace the AI does not replace the relationship.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when we dedicate ourselves to understanding our soulmate, we can
Yes.
use AI to say like, hey, AI, what does Leela need today? What did I not ask her? What's a piece of content that I could create for Leela that, like, again, like how can we keep making Leela the hero of the story?
Yes.
And how can we use AI to make that happen? And I think those are your thoughts. Is that that's the direction that you're pointing, right?
Definitely. And then I think you can use that data to inform marketing decisions. Like, of course, like blog posts, website pages, like, yes. We know all of that. But let's talk about chatbots. We can use that to train our bots to make them smarter, because we know that people don't really want to pick up the phone. They don't want to interface with someone. They might not even want to fill out a form anymore. So how do we make our chatbots not annoying? How do we make them smarter? How do we feed them some of the questions and answers and things about our soulmates that we love, and feed that to our chatbots to help make them smarter, to help make them more responsive and all of that kind of stuff. So I think there's really unique ways you can imply like a simple exercise like that and then make that go tenfold for you.
Yeah, that's a great point, because some of the good website AI powered chatbots, when you take the time to really make them smarter, it's incredible what they can do as far as answering those basic questions that everybody hits a website and wants to find. And then they don't have to search for it.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so we've got to get to what time does she eat? What time's lunch for Lila?
She just had 9 ounces, which is like way more food than usual before she took her nap. So she should be set for hours.
The party for Lyra had a big
must
party.
Be in a growth spurt, Nice. Every time I put her down, she was like, I need more food. Why would you think that the normal amount I eat would be enough today? I said, okay, girl. Whatever.
All right. Well, I can't wait till she comes on the show. All right, let's go here. More things change, the more they stay the same. Okay.
Yeah.
So AI doesn't exist. Let's say AI doesn't exist. What are some strategies? It comes down to human behavior, right?
Yeah.
Engineer has a problem. Manufacturer has a problem today. I have to turn to somebody. I'm turning to Damon. I'm turning to LinkedIn. I'm turning to social. I'm picking up the phone. I'm looking for word of mouth. I'm going to a trade show. I have to go somewhere to find that problem, right?
Yeah.
Let's go back in time a little bit. Let's get into some marketing 101 for folks. Let's just say there's a marketer out there. Let's just hit some of the basics. Okay. Inbound marketing, educating. So they're like, educate, like I'm just trying to sell stuff. Like, what does it mean to like really, you've done a great job, like with Dahlstrom's manufacturer, check out that website, Webernap, Artone, a lot of projects that we've worked on together. Yeah. How does a new entrepreneur, how do they dedicate themselves to being an educator? What does that mean to them? What does educating mean from an advertising or marketing standpoint?
It's about producing resources that are genuinely helpful to your industry and to your core persona, whether or not people work with you. And I know we've talked about that before, just in terms of even doing webinars like this and whatnot with the secret sauce and stuff. I've always been and I wrote a whole book that was like just about literally what we do to replace us. And I think that that's a good example of what that mindset means. It's wanting to help out and help reduce friction for your soulmates, for your core personas, regardless of what's in it for you. And we know in the long run that that will help us, of course, because we are helping people, and it feels good to work with people who genuinely want to help you. So that true intention comes through in your content. And that can be videos, that can be blog posts, that can be white papers, that can be writing a book, it can be a podcast. It probably should be a combination of all of the above. And again, where that really starts is with a conversation with your core persona. So asking them, what would you be searching if you weren't working with us right now? What questions do you still have, even though you're working with us right now? If we were to fall off the face of the planet, what would you put into Google to find someone like us? Asking questions like that to find those gaps in education and where you can help people in your industry. And it's also about solving their problems. And sometimes that does lead to you. So we talk about things in terms of the buyer's journey. So that's awareness, consideration, decision. Awareness is being like, yikes, I have this problem. I have this pain point. I don't really understand it. Let me figure out what's going on with me right now. And you kind of put those high level things in. You find resources that name your problem, that maybe start to point you in the right direction, but mostly it's just kind of like, hey, this is what's going on. Consideration is when you start looking into ways to solve that problem. So now you understand the multiple different avenues you could take to address that thing. And then decision is when you're really narrowing it down to, what am I going to do about this problem? And so, of course, as you're producing these resources, I'm not saying don't talk about your company at all. I'm saying be mindful of where someone might be in that journey when they hit on each of those different resources. If they're just looking for what grade of stainless steel is going to be best for a marine architectural application, that isn't necessarily the place to talk about your customer service, right? You just kind of want to give them answers to their question. And then as they work their way down, then it's appropriate to introduce and talk about your company a little bit more. So you're building that funnel for your core persona, for the people visiting your website, for the people landing on your podcast. You have all of these different resources for them to engage in. So it's not like we're saying, don't talk about your company at all. We're just saying, know your time and place, know when they're looking to learn about that versus when they're looking to learn about something else.
Gosh. All right. I'm on like page 2 of notes right now. So
just take a moment there.
This is like an absolute masterclass, as it always is with Holly. And so, Holly, I know I promise you, I'm going to keep this short, but I want to recap a couple things there. So like you're mentioning, like, we're back to the basics. It doesn't matter if it was 1900, 1950, and like there's now like this new television thing, this new radio thing. Like, it doesn't matter what the technology is. It's still about that communication and that buyer behavior, right?
Yes. And interestingly, I remember talking to Donnie, my business partner, months and months and months ago, and just having this, and maybe this is going to sound dumb in hindsight, but I feel like it was one of those revelations that was really big for me, where I was like, no matter what, people are still manufacturing personas, people who are purchasing in the manufacturing industrial space still need to end up on a website, still need to talk to a person, still need to have resources. I never say never, but it's really hard to imagine a world, even with all of the AI in the world, where somebody makes a huge purchase and a huge business decision like that without ever speaking to a person, without ever visiting their website. So where AI is most prevalent right now is in that awareness and maybe consideration space. People are going to ChatGPT now to type in what grade of stainless steel is best. If you've been producing resources, you may show up right there in their responses. Awesome. But if not, eventually they're going to make a change or make a purchase or whatever. So your brand, your website, your sales team, your people are still going to be so important and absolutely irreplaceable, especially in the space. So no matter what, it's still important. This has been the same advice since probably like the invention of the website for, B2B purposes, but it's still going to be important that your website is that safe landing place for your soulmate, for your persona to land and explore and get all of those questions answered, because that's where they're going to go first. There is no magic way to just snap their fingers and solve their problems. They can't just go to Walmart and get what you're offering them. They have to talk to someone and they have to do further research. And so like you said, Kurt, since the dawn of time, well, at least since the dawn of the website, as far as we know right now, that's still going to be your website to make that purchasing decision. So it's all about kind of how you lead them to that point.
Yeah. And it's been a number of years, well, more than a decade since I've sold products like that. But when you think about it, marketing has taken over that first phase of a sale, where we used to have to meet somebody and you had how many meetings just to get to know them, go to know them, to know you, them to see each other. There's so many, and got down to the point that we said, okay, let's talk about how could we do business together. And that's what I think is so cool about marketing and digital and social and the things that it's done, is it's allowed people to get that far down the buying process, buyers, and get close to that decision point. And like you said, you got to be able to say the right things along the way, educate them so they can make a good informed decision. But at the end, it still relies on someone that knows the company, knows how to work with people, and can actually communicate how they could work together and how it would be beneficial to make a sale.
Yes, 100%.
So cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been in marketing for about 8 years, and in my time in marketing, I've seen the prescribed death of so many things, right? It's the death of the keyword, it's the death of organic social media, it's the death of email. But what I've seen the death and all out murder of through AI is everything in that realm that is poor quality and crappy. So what I saw the end of was keyword stuffing. When I first started, you could kind of game the search engine by just putting your keywords everywhere. That went away. So what won out was the high quality blogs that were not keyword stuffing, that were generally being helpful. Those survived through that. High quality social media on organic still continues to land in the laps of the people who are looking for it. Crappy posts do not, as the algorithm gets smarter. So for all of these deaths, all of these things that are supposed to be gone that really aren't, the survivors in all of those were the people producing high quality content, unique content for a specific audience that people like engaging with. And I have a very hard time seeing a world where that won't be true anymore. Sure, it'll change, it'll evolve. Video is now an aspect of it like it wasn't before, but still the best videos, the most helpful podcasts are the ones outperforming the crappy ones. So just anecdotally, in 8 years, I've been able to see that. So I don't think that AI is replacing anything as much as it's really forcing marketers to get smart, to get creative, to be unique, to stand out. And the people being punished are the ones who have been maybe doing some black hat things for a while. That might be a hot take, but.
All right, Damon, dude, like moment of silence right there. That may have been one of the most profound stretches on how many shows have we done? We've done over 400. Holly, that was phenomenal.
It was kind of cathartic for me. So thank you for giving me the space to
that. Gosh. As a matter of fact, we've got to cut that clip right there.
We will.
So Teresa on our team, Teresa, that was the clip, was right there. I've seen the death of keywords. I've seen the death of email. What did you say? Like that was so phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so good. And look at, and every time what came out of it, I've never heard anybody say that before.
Yeah.
You saw quality evolve out of the garbage. That was double drop the mic right there, Holly.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Hey, it is, and I think maybe Zach Ware, SEO specialist, inbound marketing education consultant, member of the PAD team, he's like a genius. Him and I often just poke around the SEO subreddit, which is, where a lot of people are asking questions about why their website has gone down. And the amount of times that we see somebody right after a Google algorithm update outline all of the black hat things that they've been doing, the poor intentions, the bad faith content or whatever they've been producing, and be like, and I can't figure out why my website's gone. And Zach and I are like, because Google got smarter than you.
Yes.
You tried to trick Google, you can't. And so now it's like, you try and trick Google, you try and trick ChatGPT, no matter what, like only the good will survive. So you might as well just adopt that educational, that genuinely helpful heartbeat in your marketing, but also in your brand in general, because that is the only way to survive. moving forward.
Okay. All right, man. Gosh, this is why we had
Sorry,
you
that
on.
felt ranty again.
No, right, Holly,
It's
just
the
for the record,
kid.
you're not allowed to go a year without coming on the show again, right?
Deal. I'm
Because
having fun.
and like who knows how many more kids she's going to have. So, all right, Holly, let's go here. When folks reach out to you, reach out to Protocol 80, kind of like take us like a quick overview. What does that, first off, how do they find you? How and what does the engagement look like when somebody's working with Protocol 80? Who's I'm throwing too many questions at you. How do they find you? Who's kind of like that soulmate of yours? And what does the first engagement look like?
Yeah, so we love working with manufacturing industrial companies, long sales cycle, B2B. If you think that your product is difficult to sell or unsellable, or just nobody understands that my product, nobody knows I exist, those are the things that make me and my business partner Josh just like light up. We're like, we got to talk to you. We have to hear about this. And a lot of times people find us through the HubSpot community because our revenue operations team, Josh himself, is on there answering questions a lot of times, trying to help people before they even have to engage with us, if they engage with us at all. Some people find us via Google or word of mouth or trade shows. We're at FabTech every year. But really what that looks like when I join those sales conversations with Josh is just deciding where the best place to start is and if it makes sense for us to work together. So does it make sense to start with your website? Does it make sense to start with your HubSpot? Does it make sense to take over your content, your Google Ads? So making sure that we have the right and the most impactful quick win starting point, and then building from there as much as makes sense. And somewhat new to the way that we've thought about our services recently is we've thought about our partnership tiers in 3 different ways. So we have our inbound partners. Those are the people where we are touching everything: HubSpot, your revenue operations, consulting with your sales team, doing your blogging, running the strategy for your digital sales and marketing operations. We have our solutions partner who maybe just wants us for a couple pieces of the puzzle, but not all of it. They have a great in-house team. Maybe they have other agencies they're working with, but we're like, P80, we really want you for HubSpot, or we really want you for blogging. And then we have our project partners, which are like, we are not necessarily going to visit with each other after this 3-month project is done, and that's okay. We're here to do one thing for this fixed period of time. And so that also allows us to kind of assess where the best place is to start. And those partnership tiers are fluid too. Someone might start with just a website and then realize they need HubSpot or whatever. That was way more salesy than is comfortable, but I'm pretty proud of developing that thought process. And we do have a calculator on our website, which people might find interesting, that I should bookmark so I don't have to Google it every time. And this is similar to the book. This was another thing that we felt really passionately about. This has actual pricing. So if you wanted to see what it would look like to work with P80 and what an estimate might be,
do you want to pull it up, Helen? Yeah, pull it up.
Sure. Oh my God. Can I share my screen?
Yep. Hit present.
Oh, cool.
And then grab it. And yeah, absolutely. Gosh, we should have, I'd love demos. Let's get this on stage right now.
So these are the different tiers that I mentioned. And then down here, like, let's say you're an inbound partner and you know that you want PPC. So then that aggregates your estimate investment over here. And then if you're not sure, you're like, okay, what does visual media include? All of these have like a drop down in the description, so you can decide whether or not that would be a good fit for you. And as you go and click along, it just updates your estimate and what that would look like. And these are just estimates. Of course, like, we're not there at your computer talking with you, understanding the full scope of it. But what was really important to us is you should have a judge of what your investment might look like before you have to talk to a person. You should know a ballpark, be able to compare. And we didn't really notice anyone else in the space being transparent like this. And we felt like that was a big miss, because how can you know if this is on your 2026 plan or where you should invest if you've never worked with an agency before and you have no idea where to start? We shouldn't make you have to sit down at gunpoint with Josh and I to get to that point. We think that that's silly, even though I think Josh and I are fabulous. Not everyone wants to do that, and that's totally fair. So, and I also say this, maybe P80 isn't a good fit. Maybe it doesn't make sense for us. I really encourage people to just use this tool to play around with like what pricing looks like and things like that, so that if you feel like you have a current agency who might not be living up to what they should, or you're going through quotes, this could even just maybe be a helpful barometer as just something else, another friendly tool to help provide context. So, oh my gosh, way too salesy. Now you need to ask me an educational question again to cleanse my spirit. I need to go to confession.
You know what? Not whatsoever. Because the thing is, what I always love saying about Protocol 80, Damon, is we have Mark. Like we call ourselves like the cobbler's kid with no shoes. We're like, a lot of people are marketers, and they're so busy working on their clients, God bless them, that they don't have time to focus on themselves, their own website, that type of thing. But what I always love with Protocol 80 is you guys are putting out an enormous amount of content. You go to the Protocol 80 website, there's blog posts on like everything imaginable around SEO, inbound marketing, HubSpot, solutions, really dedicated to their soulmates, right?
Yep.
And we use that line, I'll teach the competition. You guys absolutely walk the walk, walk the walk. I said that right. On the marketing side, as marketers, that is absolutely phenomenal that you have a, we call it like a configurator, estimator, whatever you want to call it, because not only is that fruitful for your customers, your soulmates to get on, you guys look what that does for you for protocol. So I'm going to rant for a minute, right? So
Go, Kurt.
What this does is it talks to your soulmate like, hey, soulmate, I get you. I understand you. Why don't you come over here? And you don't have to pick up the phone. You don't have to shoot us an email. Spend a little time on this configurator that we've spent the past 15, 20 years as we've been building Protocol 80 with our expertise to walk you through what our process looks like. You don't have to pick up the phone. No obligation. Do this on a Friday night at midnight and go through this process. So number one, I can determine, is this a good fit? And if I'm not, look at just save, why go on that first date if you guys aren't a good fit? So now it saved you time. It saves you're being and I have a note right here, right? Protect your marketer's time. That was a quote from you. By offering that configurator, you are now protecting your customer's time. Right. Yeah. And then and from an SEO standpoint, absolutely brilliant, because you're encouraging your soulmate to spend more time on your site. So from an SEO standpoint, more beneficial for you. And then the last point I want to make, your ideal customer, your B2B buyer, they absolutely should be doing the same thing.
Yes.
So now you created a tool that your customers should be, again, like you're walking the walk. So I'm giving you a massive round. I should have asked, I wish I would have known about that beforehand, but thank you for bringing this on the show.
Okay. Yeah.
Not salesy whatsoever. That is a powerful tool. And I commend you, Josh and Donnie and the team for offering that. Damon, what are your thoughts?
No, I like the way this works, right? And first of all, as Kurt said, and you said it was salesy, but I don't think it is, because it allows someone that's there, they're like, hey, let's get a little deeper into this and figure it out. And if they see that X dollars is just fine, that's what they were thinking, or it's not, they can adjust. They can decide, no, this is awesome company, but it's not a right fit for me. And it's that alone is so good. And even if they don't choose you, the value that gives them is like, okay, what is a full service agency going to charge approximately? That's a huge thing, because a lot of people walk into this not knowing, and they could leave knowing. That's a huge thing you can leave behind with it. And then those ones that really resonate, they'll just go right into the next stage.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. We do just like, I think something that breaks our hearts, and I'm speaking on behalf of Josh and I, is whenever we're in a sales conversation with someone and they're like, we have a agency that we're paying X amount of money to, but we don't really know what they do. We don't really know where the money goes. We don't know how our ads are performing. That makes Josh and I just like, the inside out angry emoji, how he's like, and then it makes us feel like that, where it's like, oh my goodness. So this is also something where we're trying to combat that. And maybe it never makes sense to work with us. Maybe they're not even a manufacturing company, but just like a barometer for like, okay, what should be included? What shouldn't be included? What about should I be paying? Like, I hate that too. I think marketing can be a space for bad faith actors. I think that sometimes they like to breed there. And so I like to weed them out and shame them via resources if I can.
Yes.
Well,
that's awesome.
I think that is phenomenal. I would love to see every marketer.
Yes.
And again, like, we're just so bullish on that. And we'll wrap up, because I know I'm keeping you too long. How's Lyra? How's Lyra doing?
She's good. She just like wiggled around a little bit, but now her monitor says she's in deep sleep again. So she must have just.
She's in REM.
All right.
So, all right. Well, kudos to you, Holly, and congratulations. Who just out of curiosity, who championed that? Who came up? Whose brainchild was that idea?
The calculator and the partnership tiers. that was mine. But Donnie is the engine behind building it. And of course, it was super informed by sitting on sales calls with Josh and seeing the need. I kind of just put the bow on it and put words to it with my semi-useless writing degree.
Yep.
But I think really the three of us had a huge hand in getting it off the ground.
Well,
semi-useless. Every now and then it comes in handy.
Kudos to you guys. So, all right, we'll wind down. So first off, I want to give a huge, heartfelt thank you. I know how busy you are as now a new mom, and with your being partners at Protocol 80. We never take your time lightly. So thank you. It means a world to us. Thank you for sharing your passion, your expertise. Absolutely. I have two quick questions for you. Isn't it the great thing about having a child is like now, like I loved when my daughter was young, like I could watch all the cartoon movies and like I would blame it on her, you know, like I would, like you said, Inside Out, like it was great, like going to go see all the movies. Do you have like a show or a movie that you're dying to see thanks to Lyra?
You know, I don't know that I have any we're dying to see. I do have to share. Every afternoon, like for her last nap of the day, we watch Little Bear. And I hold her for her nap. And so I've just been watching old episodes of Little Bear, which I grew up on, just like super low stimulation, very feel good vibes. And I just have been like living in the nostalgia. So I think she's a little for much more than Little Bear now. She's only 4.5 months, but I am excited because I know there's a whole swath of Pixar movies that I've missed that I'm excited to delve into for sure.
Yeah, you know what? It just start popping in the Pixar movies now. Like who? Like don't even do it. Lined up for you, right? Just do it. Like, and you can just well, I think what Lyra wanted to watch, you know, that Pixar movie.
Yeah,
you know, like,
exactly.
You want to watch Moana?
Hey,
or whatever.
I've got no shame.
Right, exactly. So. All right, it's 18 years from now. It's 2043.
Jeez.
Isn't that freaky? Like, I remember when my daughter was going to, like, I was like, oh my God, she's going to graduate in 2025. And like, bam, here it is, right? So like, it goes by like that. I'm sure everybody tells you that. It's 2043. What's her college major going to be?
Oh my goodness. If I had to base on her personality so far, she's a busybody. She likes to be involved in everyone's business. She's very observant. I think she would be a journalist of some kind. Maybe like an expose journalist, because she also loves drama. So I could see her like really digging into something and like blowing the lid off of, you know, some scandal or something.
Nice. Awesome. Well, Damon, when we come back, you'll see that'll be our 23rd anniversary of having our show. We'll be in the nursing home, but we'll come back and we're gonna see how close Holly was, if Lyra is gonna go to journalism school or what, right?
Yeah.
Maybe another St. Bonaventure grad. So
I love that.
We're gonna wind down. Holly, any parting words, any words of wisdom, any parting shots that you want to share with anybody as we close out?
I am going to selfishly invite myself back on the show in a couple months, because we're running a really cool experiment right now where we, of course, as you mentioned, we do our own marketing. So we have a team of people internally who act as our agency. And then Donnie and Josh and I act as the clients, and we run content calls and whatnot. It's fun to put that hat on every now and then. Wow. But we're doing an experiment where 2 people on the team, someone is going to do a completely work with AI, of course, like do some prompt generation and stuff, not just throw it into AI and walk away, but work heavily with AI to generate a content map, content topics, keywords, and then someone else is going to do it with no help from AI at all, and a blog post associated with that. And then as the client, we're going to pick what we like better, and we're going to write about the experience, document it. And I think once we're at the tail end of that, it would be really fun to maybe have all 3 of us, Donnie and Josh and I, on to kind of talk about how that went, because if it is the AI that wins, I think it would be really interesting to see how the marketer on our team interfaced with AI to get that really good product. We'll have their prompts that we can share with everybody. We'll have exactly what that looked like, so any business could replicate it. And if it's not AI, we could talk about what we didn't like or what some of the fail points were. So I'm inviting myself back on in maybe like 3 to 6 months to talk about how that experiment went. And also bringing 2 people with me to the party I invited myself to. So I'm being super rude. But I think that would be really fun for people just to see what that looks like, especially because we've got a good mix of, I'm still kind of more of an AI naysayer in certain ways. I think Josh is very pro AI. Donnie's probably right in the middle. So I think it'll be kind of fun to get our perspectives. There's my pitch.
You are absolutely more than welcome. And as a matter of fact, I hope we might shamelessly have to have you on prior to that. And so as a matter of fact, I might have to invite myself down to go on site at Protocol 80, and we could actually have like a little, maybe we do like a little debate of like pro AI,
Yes.
That would be
anti-AI,
fun.
or like this case study, and I'll come on site. And if I'm not available, I'll send my AI generated Kurt, and I'll send,
Perfect.
I'll send the AI
As long
generated
as
Kurt down.
AI generated Kurt comes with Wegmans cookies, he's always welcome.
That's right. My wife always buys cookies for these guys.
There you
I
go.
visit, like I got to show up with Wegmans cookies. So, all right, we're gonna wind down.
Thank
Holly,
you,
we
guys.
can keep you here all day. Congratulations to you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Your
Thanks for
husband,
having
your
me.
entire family. Damon,
This is so fun.
parting thoughts, your words of wisdom. What do you think, Damon?
No, just thanks for being here today, Holly, because it's so much, it's always a breath of fresh air. And it's always great to hear how Protocol 80 is, really leading the way in, like you said, testing AI, seeing how it works, seeing how it compares and some of the things you're doing, and just to learn from you and the things you guys are doing. It's awesome for us to be able to have you here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Damon. That makes me feel very proud. I appreciate it so much.
So awesome. Holly, hang out with us 1 second. So guys,
Yes, of course.
thank you
Nice.
for joining us here today. So Damon, we're going to take a little break. We're taking a little breather for a couple weeks. And so we've got things that we've got to do. And I don't know, maybe we'll spend some time on AI. We've got some family stuff. We got 4th of July. So we're going to be back 2 weeks from today. Holly, you've got our invite link. So you are welcome back anytime. We're going to keep it.
Okay. Next time I have a good rant locked and loaded,
There we go.
Another good rant. We're gonna that rant's gonna be on LinkedIn this week. So, all right, guys,
Cool.
Thank you. God bless you. Keep going out and crushing it. Connect with Holly on LinkedIn. Check out Protocol 80, and we wish you guys just an amazing, incredible, wonderful rest of your week. And we will catch you guys soon.
Thanks everybody.